Today we're gonna build these outdoor sectionals. I can't keep these things on my shelf. They're selling like crazy. They're actually one of my best sellers. Not really at the start of summer. Start of summer, like the flower beds and planters do really well. But these things, man, they sell. Once you get past that 4th of July date, these things sell like crazy. So I'm gonna show you guys how I build one of these sets, and we'll get started right at it. What I offer is like an 8-foot, a 6-foot, and a 4-foot version of this bench. And then a little chair, it's 2-foot version, and then a table. Offer all of that, and customers will put in their order and customize what they want. You know, some might want 2 6-foots and a table, or 2 chairs, or whatever. For this order, what we're doing is going to be 2 chairs, a 4-foot bench, and a table. So material list for this, we got 3 12-foot 1x4s. These are your 1x4s. I stained these and sealed these prior to building. And then we got 14 10-foot 1x4s, 2 8-foot 4x4s. I actually used treated boards for those. So those are going to be 2 8-foot 4x4s. And then it's going to be 4 14-foot 2x4s, and then 3 10-foot 2x4s. You know, this isn't something you have to do, but this is something I do that kind of tidies things up a little bit better. Is on those 2x4s, you know, they got the rounded edges. They're pretty kind of rough on the edge, not great for furniture. What I do is run them through the planer. So I take about 1/8 of an inch off each side, running it through the planer, and that's going to give you kind of a square piece of wood here. Smooths it out good. You don't even have to sand it after. I throw my stain right on it out of the planer. So what I just did there is I took a 10-foot board, one of the 10-foot 2x4. I chopped it up into a 2-foot 7 chunk, a 2-foot 7 chunk, and then a 4-foot 7 chunk. Now my 4-foot benches, they're 4 foot wide for the seating, but there's a 2x4 arm rail on each side. So you got to actually add 3.5 plus 3.5, so 7 inches. So your 4-foot bench is actually 4'7". Our 4x4s, we stained these up. These are going to be the legs for all the chairs and benches. And we're going to cut these up at 15 7/8 each. So 15 7/8 all the way through your 8-footer. You should get 6 out of each 8-footer. Alright, so this is going to make up the frame of the 2 chairs and the 4-foot bench. Here's 2 4'7" 2x4s. We got 4 2x4s at 27 inches, and then 4 2x4s at 26 inches with a 15-degree miter on one end of those. Sorry, it's going to be kind of the same thing for the chair. We got 2 boards at 2 foot 7 inches, 2 boards at 27 inches, and then 2 boards at 26 inches with a 15-degree miter. And we're doing 2 chairs, so we got 2 sets of those. So I'm going to go ahead and start assembling these and kind of show you what you need to do. All right, what we're going to do here is attach the legs. These are our 4x4s cut at 15 7/8. On this back side here, this is where your 15-degree 26 incher is going to be at. I'm going to put that there just so I know the actual spacing. And then I'm going to go ahead and screw this down. We'll do the same thing for the other side. These are the back legs. The front legs will actually just sit flush in the corner, but the back legs have to have a little bit of spacing. Front legs, you don't need that spacing, so these are actually just going to sit flush here in the corner. Alright, so now we got a frame here. This is going to be your whole base. Obviously at the end we're going to have to go get all these board ends stained and sealed. So your 15-degree right here, right? It's going to sit in this way. And what I'm doing is lining it up flush with the bottom here. So let's double check, we're pretty flush there. Then we're going to throw 3 more screws in here. Alright, so here's our completed frame for one of the chairs. So this is going to be our front, back side. This is 2'7" across, 16-inch legs, These middle boards right here are 27 inches, and then these back ones are 26 inches with a 15-degree miter at the bottom. And that's going to make up all the 2x4 and 4x4 material for these. From here, it's going to be taking the 1x4s over there and putting them across here. All right, pretty simple what we're doing here. On the back side, we are going to do a 2-inch gap between these boards. What I do is take a little 2-inch spacer, I paint it so I know which one it is. I put it in there, we'll clamp the board down and then screw it in. And then that's going to give us 2 inches spacings. We're going to put one at the top here. I recommend putting a little middle screw in right here that goes basically from this board down to this one. And then we're going to go, so one board at the top and then 4 boards down this way. For this bottom set, we got 1.5 inches separation between each of these boards. All right, so we got this one pretty much done. We still got to build the arm rails for them, and then we got to stain and seal all these board ends. All right, so here we are on that 4-foot bench. Now that's going to be your backrest, right? This is going to be your front. Remember, these are 4 foot 7 inches, 27 inches here, 15 7/8 on the legs, and I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 27-inch boards across just to give it a little extra support on the bottom. The back, you don't need nearly as much support, so I'm just putting 3 26 with a miter at the bottom, 15-degree miter at the bottom across the back. And then we'll go ahead and turn it into what these look like right here. So here's what we got going on today. We are building the arm rails. We're finishing up the sectional, so we're going to be building these arm rails. I built the first one to kind of give you guys an example. When you attach these, I always try to line up the 2x4 so straight through the middle. So I'll put a screw here, one more here in the back, and then I'll put 2 of them right here and then right here going into that 2x4 back there. But in order to build these, you're going to need... So I'm building 6 arm rails right now, right, because I got 3 benches, so I need 6 arm rails, 2 for each of them. So your top piece here is going to be a 1x4, and that's going to be 22 inches long. And then your bottom piece here is going to be a 2x4 at 19.5 inches. And then going up with the 2x4 is going to be 9 inches long. And then this piece right here is going to have a 15-degree miter and a 15-degree miter so that it sits flush along this backrest. And that board we're looking at 9 1/4. So it's going to be 9 1/4 on that back piece. I got the rest to make the rest of the 5 right here, so I'll go ahead and show you guys how I put one of them together. I'm going to take our 19.5 inch 2x4. I'm going to pre-drill 4 holes in it, 2 on each end. The 2 that are going to go into that 15-degree 9 1/4 board, I'm going to put in at just a little bit of an angle. Put it in right about at a 15-degree angle. Now I always like to put my screws in beforehand, that way when I'm up here trying to line this up right, I'm not trying to finagle it and get a screw started. It's easier if you already got the screw in the hole. I'm going to see which side's the better side, the better looking side, glossier. That's going to be facing inwards, because you'll be able to see it when it sits back like this. You'll be able to see this side. So just do your best to kind of hold on to this. I'm sure there's probably better ways of doing this, but this is how I do it. The next thing we're going to do is take our 9-inch piece and attach it right here. So that's going to give us the bottom section, and the next up is we're going to attach our 1x4 right to the top here. One thing to note, because we did actually plane these 2x4s down, so we took an 1/8 inch off, so they're not actually as wide as the 1x4s. So you have like a little bit of an overhang here, about an 1/8 inch on each side. It's really not the end of the world. It doesn't bother me when I'm building these. No one's ever complained about it, so I'm not too worried about it. I don't mind how it turns out. So with that being said, I'm going to build 4 more for the chairs, and then right after that we should be moving right onto the table. It's a little rainy here at the shop today. Alright, so what we got here is the start of the table. So what I did was I started with one 2x4 at 28 inches, and then I ripped it in half on the table saw, so then I got 2 out of that same board, right? So you got one at 28 inches. You're going to have your next one at 24 3/4. And then same thing, you're going to rip that one in half, so then you got 2 of them out of that one board. And then your legs, they're all going to be 27 inches tall. I throw an extra piece right here just to give, just to add a little bit more stability to what's going on. This was just a scrap piece of 2x6 I had laying around from another project. You can use, if you have enough 2x4 left, you can do that. I was just a couple inches short and didn't have enough 2x4 left to do that. So I just used a scrap piece of 2x6. So what we're going to do next here is on 2 sides, so this side and that side, we are going to probably 5 boards at 28 inches for this side, and then 5 at 28 for that side. So we got these 1x4s, 28 inches, 5 of those going down, right? So our next ones are going to run the full length from that outside board to outside board, which is going to be 29.5. So we're going to need to cut 10 1x4s at 29.5 inches, and they'll make the sides. Alright, so here's where we're at. We got all 4 sides done. The last and final step is going to be all of these top pieces. I'm going to start at one end here, line up the first one, then run it screw here, screw in the middle, all the way down through. And then this last one, I think it's going to be off by like 1/4 inch, so we might have to shave off just a little bit of one of these. It actually ended up being about 3/4 short on this side. For some reason, I don't know how I missed that, but it's going to be 3/4 short on this side. So what I'm going to do is take one of these 1x4s, an extra one that I have, and just cut it down on the table saw to 3/4 inch, and that's going to fill this little gap right here. Alright, and then like I said, this last part here, we got everything all put together now. I think I still got to attach the arm rails, but it's just covering up all these board ends. So I pre-stained and sealed all my boards, but at the end, you know, you don't know where your cuts are. Your cuts aren't sticking out, so you can't stain and seal those. So I always wait till the end to do those and do them all at once. So that's pretty simple. You know, just dip your cloth in the stain, rub it down the line. Super important too is after you do this, make sure you're wiping off any of the excess that you're leaving on the actual table. Alright, so one of the very last things we're going to do here is attach these arms. Now remember, you got a flat side with a 90-degree angle here, and then you got your side over here with your 15-degree angle. What we're going to do is line these back up, flush with this outside, and screw her home. So here we are. This is our completed sectional set right here. We got a nice table here, bench, 2 chairs. This set's actually going to end up going in the truck right after this and heading out to a customer's place. These are pretty simple to build, pretty easy. Anybody can kind of do them. Just one thing I do is I try to make sure I put extra gloss and get these. Customers love that sheet or that big gloss shine on this furniture. So take a little extra care and throw some extra. Take a little extra care and throw some extra layers of gloss on these, and just something that really gets the customer to smile a bit more. Most people, you can kind of go with these without any sort of padding underneath. If you know for a fact that you're not getting any cushions, I would maybe add another board here on the bottom and change these spacings to about 1 inch or so, maybe even 3/4 inch. But all my customers, what they do is they get their own cushions. Every customer kind of wants different cushions in a different color layout, so I don't even worry about buying the cushions myself. I just let the customers pick out and order their own cushions. Sometimes, every once in a while, I'll get a customer who gets these these cushions in 20 inches by 20 inches. So I actually got to adjust the benches a little bit to fit that. So have your customer send you a link to their cushions that they're going to be buying, just so you can get a better idea of the height and the width on them. But the average cushion usually is about 24 inch by 24 inch. Here we are. I'm excited to get this set out to the customer and get started. I think I got another set I got to do right after this one, but we're doing our first vendor sale this week. That's going to be something I'm pretty excited for. So I got a bunch of small bills I'm going to be doing, and I can make a whole video out of that. So I'm pretty excited to do that, and I will catch you guys in the next video.